Hi, I'm Zoya Qureshi.
Hi, I'm Kaustubh Kaushik.
Hi, I'm Bhavya Goyal.
Hi, I'm Upasana Kindra.
And
we are
College
Counsellors Unplugged.
Yes, welcome back. So, are we ready for our next discussion today?
Absolutely.
So, today let's figure out what are the challenges that we as college counselors face regarding the universities that we have to deal with day in and day out, be it in India, be it outside India, and then the portals that we and our students are dealing with, the Common App, the UCAS, all the challenges around them, and obviously within our school system, what are those challenges that we face with within the system, maybe dealing with the people or the kind of things that we have to go through every time, every year, and figure out what to do every year and how much we can actually do well and make some changes at some places. So I think we all have our own challenges. So it will be a nice discussion if we can talk about them and maybe learn from each other. Okay, so maybe we can start with anybody who would like to first take it up.
Okay, I'll take this up. I think there are various challenges, and maybe through this podcast, we will address maybe the one or two most pertaining ones. But for an introduction, I believe as a school counselor, when we are asked to, put our schedule in the annual calendar, school calendar, or make our calendar as per the school calendar, there could be certain challenges. For example, during the time of the application submission deadlines, there could be winter breaks, right? There could be the Diwali break or any other break happening, right? They could be having term examinations, midterm, some assessments, because of which I think a lot of dedication or a lot of time of the students, their parents, teachers, every resource in the school is distributed. And just as soon as that gets over, an event gets over, we are asked to submit documents, we are asked to submit profiles, we have to make our school profiles. So I think that is a challenge, I believe, that many of the counselors in the school would
I think there's a threefold layer to that, right? It's school, it's what the application deadlines are, and it's then these university visits and fairs that keep coming in. Challenging
our
for
job
us-
is actually not internal at all, right?
Yeah.
It's based on external people. So we have to be coordinating with so many people outside.
Absolutely.
And the internal processes. I think for me, particularly, the internal processes has been a different game altogether. I've learned a lot in the last couple of years because I did not know that school counselor's job is not limited to only student work. So I think, that is something very, very important to talk about. But I think
Coordinating all of this and you being the spine behind that.
No, but my problem is people end up thinking it's only about the coordination. It's not. When it's about strategy, when it's about how you're making these decisions, there's a lot of knowledge also which needs to come out. It's not just coordinating, acha, it's 90% and this is your college list. There's just so much to it, I think, and there's so many challenges behind that. I think let's just take that up one by one. Calendaring is definitely one of them. And coordinating these events and coordinating these submissions and all the timelines are very all over the place country wise. But I'm sure there are more that we really
okay, so let me, I mean, there are more and then very generic, but let me be specific with one, which I'm sure all of us will have great inputs for. The first one is that with the university applications, all the portals that are there, the UK, UCAS, the Common App in the US, right? Europe, some universities like in the Netherlands will have StudyLink. Europe will have their own applications through their internal portals. In India, we have CUET, we have all the other private universities, their portals. So, with respect to a school, a counselor, the university, and the student, all the four stakeholders that are involved while submitting an application, what are these challenges that we are facing for a particular region or in general? Why don't you begin, Zoya?
Okay, so for me, I think majority of my cohort is looking at US. So let me maybe bring that out. Just simple things as to how you're addressing a question on Common App, how you're supposed to be filling it. Like one thing that always amuses me, and I've discussed this with many counselors all the time, is that when they're asking you about your school rigor, who on earth is going to go and write my school has least rigor? Whether it's CBSE, whether it's IB, whether it's the way you teach your curriculum, there are certain schools that have very high rigor and repute, and there are some which don't. They value in the overall, holistic well-being, and the academic rigor may not be like first and only preference. So then I'm wondering, like, who do I go and address these questions to? Because I know my school has high rigor. We're known for it. We're notorious for it. But why, everybody else is going to be writing the same thing. So why are you asking me this? And yes, all of this is mentioned in the school profile, which we submit to you, which brings me to another very important point, Kaustubh, the challenge. Whenever we discuss, a child's profile, the child always remembers the submission to college. That's it. What they don't realize is it's a pie chart with like 3 pie pieces. Where at the back end, there's another part where I am supporting their application and submitting applications, and I'm submitting to the university without their knowledge, without the child's knowledge. So there are two processes that we are following, and there are so many challenges related to both. Which is why when it comes to Common App, it's very important for the child to keep the profile open for the counselors to view. Many of them are not waiving off FERPA. I mean, we just
discussing about it.
Right,
Like
so
the
that's
FERPA
the problem. How can you not let me see your application, and why do you want to see your recommendations? You know how well you've done. We've kept it confidential, and now it's going to be a challenge if you do not allow us that. You have to waive off your rights. So that's one thing that becomes a little challenging when a child doesn't want to and has their own reasons, whims and fancies about.
Yeah, I think they don't even know enough about it.
No, but we have a policy that they have to waive off, otherwise we won't send the recommendation.
Yeah, but the challenge of having them follow and understand the policies in itself a game, right? Because
and also, what are the repercussions of this on the university?
Yes.
If they're not waiving off their FERPA, how are the universities taking it? That's something we need to really know about. Like, is there a consequence to it? What is there when this happens?
I was reading the Common App website a few days back, and there are sections which you mentioned about the rigor and everything. And one thing I got to understand, that all these data points which are there, your profile section, the school profile section, right? Much of it has to do with the US schools or the American curriculum.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the American curriculum, right? Remember, we were talking about this, that our students, then is your board result, your final year 12 result, a national or international or a state result. Now, I would know as a counselor, with having you all and so many people out there, all the resources that are there for me to check. But imagine a counselor, and because universities are saying we're picking up students from tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? We spoke about it. Now, I do not believe that the question that is put it out there, maybe we can have the question displayed, that many schools would not understand this, because they've written that most applicants of the US choose to
reply no.
Right?
You're right, Kaustubh. When I started my practice as a school counselor, it was a challenge, and it took me some time to understand this question. I also spoke to many people who were doing this curriculum and then went ahead and did what I did and guided you.
So I think the challenge over there is, when we are addressing this, what are the repercussions if we type the so-called wrong answer? I think that is one definite. We don't know the right way of representing our school in the best manner, because the system is very US centric.
How seriously are they looking at it?
Yeah,
right?
and how serious are they? Absolutely.
We don't even know that. I don't even think enough university people, we've asked a lot of people who are visiting India or placed in India as outreach professionals, they don't even know the answer to it, right?
Maybe if those people are listening to our podcast, they need to, send out some answers over there as to what can be the repercussions of saying a yes to it or a no to it, or the waiving of the FERPA. So how do they look at it? So if we know, then probably we'd answer.
Definitely, and adding on to that, Upasana, there's an event that we had gone to the other day, like Bhavya and Kaustubh and I were there, and we were discussing with the India rep of that university, that what actually works for university, what makes it work. And she went on to say that essays are really important.
Essays are really important,
Yeah, and I went and I whipped out the data for that university. Now every university has this data. So we said, but hello, you yourself are publishing and saying that essay is number 2 priority, and right now you've actually told me it's number 1. And this is a very experienced counselor who I would trust has the internal information. So then my challenge is, I am studying data to understand what suits my child best, like the students best. And then we are getting very different, a different version of that same data from the universities and the reps. So to understand what is crucial, what we are strategizing for our student to get into college, is that going to work in their favor or is it not? I think clarity on that is definitely one big challenge for us.
So the system is not as organized at the university side itself. I think because
dealing with, thousands of applications, or maybe 100,000 applications coming in within those months. Are they,
equipped?
Are they equipped? I mean, how much of it is going through softwares, augmented tools to
Yeah.
scan,
Yeah.
and skim, and how much the qualitative part, such as an essay or a school profile, is actually being looked at.
True.
Something
Also,
very interesting to it's an anecdote, very recent. I went for my synopsis presentation, and there I got a, uh, somebody gave me this feedback over there that instead of doing what you're doing, why don't you do a research on the essays that your students have sent and got into Ivy Leagues, do a PhD on that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. Anyway, so
I mean,
that's
good.
so I think we need to do, we
Yeah.
need more researchers to actually come up with the